Hello and welcome into the Sorare Data Show. I am Andrew Laird. You can find me as Lairdino on Sorare. Here today to talk about why we have so many cards. It's so many cards. What are we doing? What are we doing? Thanks everyone for coming in. Toby, Mike Baston, and Rude on the podium. Congratulations to you three. Toby said, quote, he might be useful at some point. Mike Basson, because Pavel won't take 10 for one trades anymore. And Rude, quantity over quality is a strategy too. I guess so. Agent Cooper, what's up? For me, it's an OCD problem. It's like Pokemon. I got to catch them all. Sorare will only be completed for me when I own every player on the platform. Looking for food with a nice triggering burn mechanism. Shout out to It's Haber for triggering me this morning by bringing up burn mechanisms. I know it probably wasn't morning for him. Maybe it was. I don't know. But I woke up and saw that and I was like, man, it's going to be one of those days, isn't it? SR Monkey in the house. What's up? A question I asked myself this morning before listing 200. That's so many cards. Completely agree with Toby, though. That's been my mantra up until now. Shaforko, what's up? Because we are not smart. Yeah, could be a reason. Ryan Dino, what's up? Appreciate the like on the video. Stefan, hello. Boulder Crypto Sissy Dragon, I play with the year 2030 in mind, not 2024. That's actually a really good... Remind me about this later, because the number of people who are worrying about 2030 now, when it's 2024, granted, the end of 2024, it's December 9th. I would call this, is this early December or is this mid-December? I think it's still early, but we are really close to mid. Anyway, Harry Trades in the house, 16 waiting, only 9 likes. Man, what are we doing? What are we doing? We got like 50-ish people live right now, 21 likes. I don't know. I don't know what the ratio should be. I mean, it should be 1-to-1, but anyway, I've decided now that like the like button is not if you like the stream, it's just if you're here. Just show that you're here by liking the stream. That's all we need. All we need. Mikey Baston, what's up? Palma, I keep buying more cards. Little Scottish spending spree today. I think people are going to be really disappointed is not the right word. Oh, this is going to turn into another meme. When you are focusing on a time of year when only a limited number of teams play, consider what the prize pools look like. We'll keep it at that. Tuggy, good morning to you. Just Mike it. You're welcome on Jude. So we're a Malta. What's up? Anyan. Ooh, is this Mulak? MU11AC Mulak? Mu11 Addicted to collections. It's not even about the collections. That's the worst part. Dan Thomason, hello. Yatza for collection bonus. Just Mike, has there ever been a higher cost yellow card than Greetsman's yesterday? I wish they would just get rid of the shirt removal yellow card. It's not hurting anyone. Like, what if somebody much more intelligent than me on this subject can let us know like why that's an immediate yellow card? Obviously, it used to not be, and now it is, and it is now, and I don't know why. Ivan, what's up? Unless it's Ivan, then hello. Red or Dead 69. Hatling in my OCD is the opposite. I hate players that don't fit my strategy. That's what we want to talk about today. Sorare strats. So many cards, got to catch them all. Mike said it's either late, early December or pre-mid-December. It's a great line. Red or Dead have tons of average cards. Will still get more if it helps with collection bonus. Just Mike, it said the yellow card moved him from second to third, price difference of $700. Yeah, it's stupid. It's such a stupid yellow card. I mean, it's stupid because like players know, but I don't see Greetsman being like a Neymar where he like knows when he's going to be suspended for his sister's birthday and like will take his shirt off for that. But I don't know. Sorare Malta said it's because of the threat of televising deformed nipples. Is it any? Does it have to be deformed? I don't know. But yeah, so I feel like a lot of people... Oh, here we go. Agent Cooper said we have to blame Diego Forlan. Oh, his actions changed the law on yellow cards for shirt removals. He ran around the pitch for 5 minutes holding his shirt in his hand. But like the problem there was not the shirt removal. It was the running around for 5 minutes. Like, give them a yellow for, match delay. But just if they just, take the jersey off, swing it around while they're running back to their side of the field, like, who cares? Who cares? Daniel said, I'm too lazy to sell my cards. Oh, well. I mean, it's a process. Just ask SR Monkey, who listed 200 cards today, how easy that process was. Germ said the West Ham goalkeeper always has his areola showing and no consequences. It's a very good point, Germ. Very, very good point. Palma said, fair point about the prize pools. I was just thinking about how bored I'd be with only a couple of lineups. So one of the conversations before the deadline, maybe it was after, I don't know, at some point in the last few days, in the Sorare Scandinavia Discord, someone mentioned how contender prize pools are a bit lower now. And like K-League is over. J-League played today, but they didn't play last week, and how they're just getting progressively smaller. And it's like, well, yeah, when there are fewer teams playing, it's going to get smaller. And then like when Austria doesn't play and the second division Bundesliga doesn't play, it's like, well, what's left? And I think over the Christmas period, like all we have is SPFL, excuse me. And I'm just not sure how big the in-season or classic, both of them, prize pools will be when there are only 12 licensed teams playing. And I feel like people are like, oh, I'm going to get this team because they're playing. And it's like, well, they are, but you're also like, now you're risking relegation, because if you don't have Celtic, like, what are you doing? And so that's the problem. And breaking from Sora Malta, apparently Diego Forlan also had deformed nipples. And so that was the problem. So Mikey, this is a great line. Mikey Baston. Mike's on point today. If the yellow's for running around, Messi and Shaqiri, you're safe. Oh, man. But yeah, so it's just be careful. That's all. Like, we want to look ahead, but part of looking ahead is not just like, oh, is this team have a good matchup? But it's also, oh, who else is playing? And when nobody else is playing, like, how much can we reasonably expect prize pools to be? Goose said, I had 3 out of 4 of the best challenger forwards this week, but didn't score higher than 375 points. So having more cards that do well doesn't automatically lead to bigger lineups. I mean, it doesn't matter that you didn't score 375. It matters how many people scored more than 375. And so there's that. Paolo said most of the game weeks with only SPFL contender will not even be open. I think they will be. Like, aren't there 12 teams in Scotland? Scottish Premiership. Aren't there 12 teams? Whoops, table. Like 12, we only need 10 or 10 teams for a competition to be open. So contender should be open if they all play. Now, granted, if there's some of these like midweeks or weekend, or basically if they split, like, oh, we're going to have 2 matches Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And it's like, oh, now we're split. So it's possible. To be honest, I hadn't even looked. So we'll see. Heilingen said, I had all 3 contender teams in Division 1 this game week, and 2 got relegated. I also ate a bunch of contender relegations this week. Shout out to San Frecce and Racing, who really ended me. Adrian Cooper said, the other thing I find hard to stop myself from doing is buying a rare classic card when it's 0.001 or less. I'm guessing that's ETH. And I'm talking actual quality players with potential to score high scores. I think like the days of that's too cheap are over. And not because everything is cheap, but there's just such little upside if that happens. Because like there's going to be other cards available, and you're not, I don't know, maybe I'm at a point now where buying a card for $1 and selling it for $3 isn't really doing enough for my gallery. And so it's not worth it. And, fair play to you if that's what you guys want to do and do it. So Red or Dead said, currently 4th in La Liga Division 3, competing against Real Madrid stacks and Griezmann with a Celta Vigo Las Palmas combo. Love it. I hope you got the Iago Aspas off the bench decisive. I don't remember if it was a goal or an assist, but I remember everybody before the deadline was like, oh, it's Aspas week. And then he was benched and everybody got upset. And then he got a decisive and everybody was fine. That's about. Just Mike had said, it's about cost of entry versus the possible rewards for me. Yeah. And so I think a lot of people for this Christmas period and may really just basically from now until February. We have these kind of like wonky schedules for leagues. Some take a break, and the problem is that, like, you could find a team that's playing regularly, but if the rewards are tiny, like, is it even worth it? Ricamon said the .0001s add up over time. It's better to just hold. I don't know if there's better, but Yatsa said $650 for first in game week 37 contender, which is not. I don't even know. Let's see what that looks like. Game week 37. I know $650. Yatsa, is that rare or limited? Let's see who even plays that. Game week 37. So that's not like the weekend that's coming up for us. It's the one after, which goes all the way to Christmas Eve. Contender. So we've got Croatia, La Liga. So I almost don't want to. So part of the tricky thing with contender this time of year also, and another thing that we can't forget, is that Classic will be incredibly hard because there are a lot of teams that play La Liga 2, Serie B, who have lots of cards, but they now don't make up part of the prize pool because those teams are not minted anymore. And so it looks like we have like a long list, and you're like, oh, there are plenty of teams that are playing. But if you just look at this list, like, I guess we have some Croatia, 2 Bundesliga, SPFL, and that might be it. I mean, we have Serie B. Do we have any actively licensed Serie B teams? I don't know if we do. We definitely don't have any La Liga 2 teams. And yeah, I don't see any other leagues represented on our matchups page here. So you're basically looking at Croatia, Scotland, and second division Germany. And so those will be a majority of the in-season lineups, obviously. But when you get to Classic, like, you're going to have all of these La Liga 2 guys, all the goalkeepers getting clean sheets. And then there's going to be like 14 rewards because you're now only pulling rewards from the teams that are available for in-season. If that makes sense. Agent Cooper said, so is it just Scottish players that will be available for in-season contender? Croatia and Bundesliga 2 go on winter breaks too. That's what I think so. So like if we go to game week 30, so game week 38 includes Christmas, which is Wednesday this year. So that's a midweek. Game week 39 is the weekend after. And as we see here on the matchups page, we have Premiership, Scottish Premiership, and Serie B, and that's it. And I guess we should count the Premiership teams. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All right, so everybody plays. But I believe that for this game week, so this is the one right after Christmas. So it includes, it doesn't include Boxing Day, excuse me, because Boxing Day is Thursday. Not that they would be in contender, but Premiership, is it Premiership, Premier League? What am I saying wrong, Quinny? Whatever. SPFL, I'll just say that from now on. But anyway, so just think of how big even the in-season prize pool can be with 12 teams playing, and how big the Classic payouts are going to be when only 12 teams are playing. Premiership, Premier, I don't know, whatever. So just consider that when you're accumulating cards for this period. Just look at what the prize pools could be. Like, we don't know how small they're going to be when there are only 12 teams, but we know when there are 10 teams, it's the bare minimum. And this is only 2 more teams. Toby said, I mean, my little Hearts semi-stack cost 10 euros. Not expecting much when it comes to return, but I just couldn't waste Cameron Carter-Vickers and Alistair Johnston. I mean, I hope they start also. I don't know what how much they would possibly rotate during that time. So we don't have anything until, so game week 37 is the last one that Sorare has listed. So I guess we could look into what the prize pools are for each one. Mike said 650, but I still don't know if that's for what that's for. So Division 1 in season for limited pays 650. Okay. Rare Division 1 pays 1,000. I mean, obviously, and Mike said it in the chat, like there's still cash to aim for. Like somebody has to win this cash. But just know that you're going to be up against, what you're going to be up against and like how many payouts there actually are. So let's see. 35 people win cash in Division 1 contender, rare. And in limited, 110. It's just not that many. Now, granted, there are not going to be nearly as many people competing because there aren't enough cards. Like people don't have as many cards, as weird as that sounds, since I'm literally saying, why do we have so many cards? But we'll see. Just Mike, it said Zagala, I don't know who that is, sold most of his gallery due to getting relegated 2 weeks in a row due to DNPs. People really hate divisions. I don't think they hate divisions. I think they hate DNPs. I mean, some people hate divisions, surely. Mike Basson, what happens if games are postponed before the game week opens? Is that region closed? I would expect that it would be. Oh, that's a great question, actually. I think, I don't know. I don't know what the precedent is in this one. I would assume if it's before the game week opens, then they don't open it. But I'm guessing it could happen after it opens. And then what do we do? What do we do then? I assume there are going to be some all-star. Oh, actually, I guess we know. Did the blog tell us that they're going to be all-stars like throughout? Black Friday special. Here we go. December special events. Just give me the calendar. All-star in 36, 37, 38. Yeah. So ultimately, like we have all-star if they have to get rid of contender. And don't worry, Cap 220 will be there. Oh, and the secret special. That's right. Of course. Toba said, my guess is that once a region is open, it stays open. I feel like there was once like a Champ Europe slate where there were 2 games. This was before the new rules. And then one of them got canceled. And I can't remember if they closed it. But yeah, I assume that it stays open once it's open. And I'm wondering if they actually, well, they won't. They probably won't. I don't know. We'll see. And you said when we can't swap our Liverpool players out, they can't swap their prize pool out. I mean, they change the prize pool all the time. Sorry, I got something in my eye there. But it happens. But anyway, just be careful this time of year when you're trying to YOLO into some cards, and just be aware. Just be aware. And on the subject of acquiring more cards, I was tempted to have this conversation with 2 people who are on the total opposite sides of the spectrum of this conversation about how many cards that we should have, meaning like what the optimal number based on manager size, and meaning like how many cards you have or how valuable they are, not like actually how big these people are. But I wanted to not have them on together or even individually, because they are both so vehement in the way that they see it that they would just end up arguing instead of debating. And I didn't feel like listening to Sean and Keith bitch about this. And so, not to call them out, but Sean is the typical example of somebody who hoards cards. And I think Sean is in the realm of thinking that the time to list all of these cards is not worth it. The amount of money he could get from those cards doesn't outweigh the possibility that one day one of these cards could be important for a lineup. Maybe it's Cap 220 for game week 38. Who knows? That he'll need them later. And on the other side, Gator Guy is adamant that particularly Sean has too many cards, but most people have way too many cards, and that they should only have kind of a small core of cards that they work around, and then they're constantly moving in and out of cards. Now, Keith's method is obviously much more active and hands-on, but he also believes it's significantly more fruitful. And I'm not sure Sean would even argue that his method is the most fruitful, but it's not worth his time. And this is like, I'm speaking for them because, like I said, like, I don't think either of them are willing to even listen to the other. Like, they'll listen because they're nice to each other. Actually, they're not even that nice to each other. But the kind of the idea is that, like, they're very adamant about the way they think. Like, I'm looking at Sean's gallery right here. So he has 604 limited cards, 1,122 rares, 644 super rares, and 106 uniques. And this is a great line. So Goose said, doesn't Keith have a lot of cards these days? And the answer is yes, and he hates them. Keith has 130 limiteds, which is a shocking number to me that he has that many, 254 rares, and 41 super rares. And so Toby said, we've heard it, both their arguments enough on this subject on this channel. Yeah. And so and Goose said, I believe in the Nepenthes method, which is even a separate one. But so Keith kind of has been changing his gallery recently. And part of that is in an effort to, like, drastically reduce the number of cards he has, because he feels like what somebody mentioned before, like, it all adds up. Keith believes it does add up, and that selling cards that he's not using and getting whatever he can from them and using those funds to help him acquire cards that he does think will help him in the short term is better. Rob C said, bit late to the party. I have so many cards as there's no point in selling them for peanuts, and it never does any harm to have options, which is certainly, like, one of the ways that people think. That is like the PSU fans too thought process. Like, it's not worth the time. The money is not enough, even if you total them all up. And so I might need them at some point. And I think Keith's argument is, if you need them at some point, you can get them at that point. But the odds is that you won't need that card. Like, there are if you have, so, like, literally, if there was a bundle of cards that Sean had, there were 1,000 cards in it, and 3 of them end up being ones that are really important in a lineup, he considers all 1,000 to be worth it, because you just never know. And Keith's on the total opposite spectrum of sell those 1,000 cards, and then when you need those 3, just buy them. And so it's the problem on both sides. No, it's not a problem. But, like, Keith's method, though, is extremely time consuming. And it also takes this, like, mental gymnastics. It's not even mental gymnastics. He actually would argue that we're doing the mental gymnastics of thinking our cards are worth more than they are. But he's like, just get rid of them. Black said, Keith's on crack. You will always need them. Which is just not true. You won't always need them. Odds are you don't need them, but there will be a time when you do. And somebody, I think it was Mike, said, oh, here we go. I thought you were talking about Jimmer with no sales. Jimmer sells cards sometimes. But no, I think the reason Jimmer doesn't sell cards is very different than the reason Sean doesn't. And a lot of people don't. And the reason is, I might need this one day. And for a vast majority of our cards, that really doesn't apply. You won't. You don't need it. And Tyler said, I traded C-tier cards for $20 each up to a classic Hakimi, and the Hakimi popped 100 first week. Wasn't using the cards I traded in main lineups. So I think that's kind of that's like the Keith method. Like, yes, get rid of all of these cards, and eventually you're going to get something that you want. And the argument is, like, well, Tyler's going to go into the cap 220, and he's not going to have any cards. And they're like, well, you could have had that card. You had it. Now you have to buy it for $3. And it's like, yeah, well, now I have to buy it. But I also have a Hakimi, and now I have money to buy those cards. Surface to air missile. This debate is reflective of the bad seller UI on Sorare. Selling lots of cards is a pain in the ass and will probably never change since Sorare doesn't want you buying other users' cards anyway. So that's actually an interesting point because it's been years that we've had like a fairly poor seller UI on Sorare. And there have been requests for years for people to like be able to sell bundles of cards, let us auction cards. And there was always there wasn't even an acknowledgement that people wanted other ways to sell cards. So it just felt like so we were kind of ignoring us. Now I could be wrong. I don't know if there's anywhere like if there is an interview somewhere where they're like, "Oh yeah, we're going to improve the secondary market." But it was one of the first things. Like it actually came up when uh, they introduced the secondary market fees, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay, so they're going to raise the fees, but that money is going to go into like development in allowing us to sell, do our cards in auctions or sell a bundle." And the outcome of that was nothing. Nothing ever happened. Tyler said, "I wish there was a relist button." There literally is a relist button. Let me see if my listings. Yeah, if you just go to my listings, it says list again, not relist. I wonder if this card ever sold. Nope. Anyway, if anyone wants a Joris Van Overeen super rare, just hit me up. But the Goose said, if my cards can't score 75 plus regularly, I won't need them for a lineup one day. I guess. Paolo said, for me, one of the most difficult decisions on Sorare is when to sell rewards. Paolo, I would say for a vast majority of cards, the answer is as soon as you get the reward. Mike said, Sean has excess cards people may buy. Some of us don't. That is a very good point, Mike. If I can get a trade that can offload more than one useless card, then I'm happy. Usually try to offload 3 or 4. Totally agree. And it's the bots have made it even harder. Like they're not actually taking all cards now. And so you're kind of like stuck. That's why I was like so into somebody setting up some sort of like tier 4, tier 5 collection trading thing where I know you don't get first owner anymore, but if like I have a card that I'm never going to use, like I mean, I crafted a few cards recently. Let's see. Like Keita Matsuda. If anybody I don't even know what team this is. That's probably a bad example. Craig, well, it's a super rare. Noah Kruth from Magdeburg. Some young keeper is actually a card I wouldn't actually trade. But anyway, poor examples probably, and I'll explain why I have poor examples for this. But basically the idea is like for collection purposes, if we could just trade our rewards, let's just do it. So Malta said in 2045, you'll see Sean on a hoarder show sleeping on a pile of cards. You could film that show today. Once said, if it's gone, it's gone. I always sell my rewards right away. I have sold a vast majority of my rewards, mostly because I tend not to win good rewards. But anyway, part of the reason a lot of us have so many cards is because of collections. And I think that's the trickiest thing with card count is, and not everybody thinks that collections are important, and so they don't acquire cards for that. But I brought this up recently, and Quinny had talked about it as well, how he has more cards now than ever. But like this orange section here, for those who don't know, if you just go to manager stats on Sorare data, all-star members have this stuff. But like in January of 2023, so actually let's go back 2 years. We can even go back 2 years to the day. 2 years to the day, I had 424 cards. And today I have 1,066. My God, that's a lot of cards. Now, granted, that is multiple sports, but it doesn't even matter because they all have been absurdly high. December 9th, what did I say? Yeah, that's today's the 9th. December 9th, 279 football cards 2 years ago today. And now I have 636. And again, part of it is because you're like, oh, collections. You need lots of cards for collections. Do I really need 75? It's more than that. My God, 90. What is that? 86 Midland cards? Not included 96? Probably not. But anyway, so we have cards that we love. These are the cards that we always want to put in our lineups like straight away. Maybe they're just really good cards. Maybe they're just cards you've had a long time and they've won you a lot of rewards. But we all have our favorite cards that we use all the time. We're like proud to own them. And so that takes up some of the cards that we have. And then we have collection cards, cards we know we'll never use, but they help our favorite cards become more powerful. What you want is for your best cards to have the most XP and have the highest collection bonus because it means that they are more powerful than any other cards. And the example that I like to use is from my River Plate collection, this Paulo Diaz rare card that I bought years and years ago for $288. It has helped me win roughly $1,300 in cash plus, let's call it $1,600 in rewards, a bunch of in card rewards. A bunch of them have been sold and whatnot. And some of these won more rewards. But so that card is at 15%. And if I want to see like how many people have those cards, again, you can just go to the cards menu and then just scroll up here. Like there are just not that many people who are going to have 15%, like 12. And mine's the only one. So this is awesome. So this is 12 cards currently of Paulo Diaz that have at least 15%. This one has 16%. And here's 15.5. Here's my card. As you'll notice, mine is the only one that doesn't have a 5% in-season bonus, which means when the new Argentina schedule or season starts up again in January, all of these cards will lose their 5%. And I will have the only 15% Paulo Diaz card. And the reason I have the most powerful Paulo Diaz card is because of this collection. And there are a lot of cards in this collection that will never, ever, ever, ever be in a lineup. Shout out to Javier Pinola, Alex Vigo, Matias Suarez. Never. Now, there are cards that I still use actively. Alvarez was in a lineup this week. De La Cruz, who didn't even start and then got an error led to goal. Diaz and Armani, Palavicini. Like there are cards I still use. And they have 5% collection bonus because of all of these other cards. Jonathan Maidana, Robert Rojas. Shout out to Babello here. And so Mike said, no one at 14.5% can catch you. I don't know. Maybe. They're never going to beat me, though. They'll never have more. Let's see. Who's at 14.5? I'll even take out of 2024s because obviously none of them are going to get there. So here's one. 14.5. So this will match it soon. Oh, it's a 1 of 100 too. That's fun. So that'll match it at 14.5 soon. Beautiful collection. Who are they missing? Oh, finish it up. My gosh, come on. Agent Cooper said I need Centurion. I know I blew it by not getting him early. Yeah, here he is. Sir Hiss has him on the market for $9,813. I'm not even kidding about that. Whoops. I don't know why that page stopped working. Oh, it's not even. It's Satonio. Sorry. But yeah, I should get one. You're right. Fun fact, Surface. I believe that collection, this collection had most of these one-ofs were AJ's cards. And then he sold them to Niftio, and then Niftio sold them to a bot, and I took them. A lot of the 1/100s. So the Sorare Josh, hot take around these parts, but I think collections are actually too overpowered. To get 5% on 20 to 30 players is quite something. Really don't agree with the users wanting Sorare to improve them. So I think, Josh, I will push back. Obviously, I'm very pro collection, but like you're talking like 20 to 30 players getting an extra 5%. Realistically, like 6 are usable. Like getting 30%, getting 5% on most of these cards doesn't matter. Like I'm not beating anybody because my Federico Girotti has an extra 5%. Ryan said, because we got the cards early this year, some of the percent bonuses are getting massive already. Yeah. So finish up those collections. That's why I have almost 400 useless FC Soul cards now. Are they useless? Specifically, they're tilting Josh because he said there's too many. If anything, Sorare would make collections an in-season only thing because they can't be liking us using 15% classic pieces in season. I don't think they care. Why does Sorare care what cards we use? Meaning if we have a 15% classic card or an 8% classic card, like why do they care? But anyway, so those are cards that you have in your gallery. Cards that you love and collection cards that hopefully help those cards. Now, granted, some people make collections of teams that they like, and maybe they don't have like the one card that they like. I didn't build this River Plate collection just to boost Paulo Diaz. Like it was to like boost a few people. But there are times where you have like one card and you're like, oh, let me see if I can get this one card higher. And I tend not to buy that way. Like I usually, and I'm not saying what I do is right, but the general buying process for me is, are there a few cards from this club that I would want? Like the goalkeeper. And usually if I'm interested in a goalkeeper, I'll be interested in a defender. And then it just kind of goes from there, which is pretty much what happened with my Napoli collection, which is not much of a collection right now. And I actually blew it recently by not adding a card that was on the market that I should have just bought. But like I bought Alex Merritt, their goalie. I bought Alessandro Buongiorno. He's one of their center backs. And it was like, all right, I'm going to play these cards in season. What can I buy how much can I pay to get them to have more XP? And I know I'm not paying for XP, I'm paying for collection bonus, but like people have talked about this for years. Like the microtransactions, let me buy XP. And it's like, if you want to pay to make your cards more powerful in the game, you can do that by buying cards from that collection. Like it literally works just like that. And so this is what I did. I bought Merit and Buongiorno. I added this Cyril, and somebody told me how to pronounce this, and I forgot already. Ganj, maybe, because it was a special edition. I got this Di Lorenzo jersey mint, Rafa Marin jersey mint, yep, and Nikita Contini jersey mint. Ironically, I got both of these cards as wrapped cards from one of the bots. Neither of them were special edition, and so I ended up selling them and then going and getting the jersey mints when those became available. But right now, as you can see, these are at 2%, and I really should get them to 3. This is egregious. I'll fix that later today. And no, Toby, I didn't handcuff yet because the backups is so expensive. It's barely like, is it even a handcuff if you're paying a starter price for a backup? Yeah. Tyler said people had Akimi's with 12 more points just because I had 4% and the others had 13%. Yeah. I mean, Tyler, you could have bought some more cards from the collection and at least gotten up to 7%. Tyler said people who collect deserve the bonus. When all put in a lineup. It's a crazy advantage. I tried the best players with no collection bonus lineup and it worked, but lost to people who scored 20 less. Yeah. But like literally, this is how we pay to get more bonuses on our cards. Something that everybody brought up when the whole microtransaction idea came about. And so Rob said the question is, how much is too much for a collection piece? It depends what you're boosting. And I think Nep would probably make the argument that if you're buying a collection that includes players that could do something later, then you can like benefit from those in the future. So Josh, excuse me. If you have a 15% classic Mbappe, you're less likely to buy an in-season Mbappe because it will take a couple months to get him to 15%, and it just hurts Sorare's revenue, in my opinion. I mean, I think there are plenty of people who are buying Mbappes anyway. I don't think, like, I understand where you're going with that, but I don't think we have so few people that like the price of Mbappe's are going down because enough people already have maxed out Mbappe's. Braden Jones, what's up? Been a while. First time back in stream. Oh, there you go. In a couple weeks. So welcome back. Collections are too fun. That's why I have 5% on 9 La Liga teams. Oh my God. That is terrible. That's the worst league in the world to do that. I'm just kidding. I just think La Liga is kind of boring. But yeah, I think it's great. And it's a reason why we end up with so many cards. And it's like the biggest reason why I think the top request I hear for the lineup builder is just the ability to hide cards because people don't want to see endless cards. And I think our argument is like, oh, well, just if you use top pick scores, then they'll be on the bottom. But whatever. The other part is where I think the card collecting process gets muddled. In that we have, like, lots of people have cards that they like I have cards that I like to use, but I don't want to buy the collection. Like the biggest example, and this is going to make me look really stupid, but I'm going to say it anyway. So I have like a Jacob, I don't know if he goes by Jacob or Jakob, if anybody wants to correct me on it. Like, is the Danish pronunciation Jakob? I feel like it is, but I'll call him Jakob. Brum. Either way. I bought one recently. This is how dumb I am, by the way. What am I just... So I have 3 Jakob Briam cards, 2 rares and a limited. I bought this rare myself, and then the jersey mint became available, and I'm just a sucker. So I bought the jersey mint, and then I added a limited neon edition when they had the Challenger thing, and I won a raffle ticket. And when I bought this jersey mint, the jersey mint and a special edition were on the market, and I wasn't sure which one I wanted to buy, and I almost bought both and then tried to sell my old one, but I didn't. But I really like this card, and he's been a beast, and Harry Trades takes all the credit for it, even though I think I bought before him. I could be wrong. Please don't correct me. But I haven't bought any other go-ahead cards, as you could see. And it was like, do I really want to buy like a go-ahead Eagles collection to boost this card? And the answer after this week was yes, you dummy, because they just smoked, I don't even know who they played, 5-0, and there are go-ahead Eagles stacks like winning Challenger this week. Now, that's already happened. I don't think it's going to happen again, so I don't know if I'm going to buy any more cards. But we all have cards like this that don't have, and usually they're like older classic cards. The example that I had is Dusan Tadic. So my Tadic card is an Ajax card from years ago. My God, that price is just sickening. And I've done nothing. It's on level 20, but I only have 11%. And I have 11% not because of how long I held that card, but actually because of this Berghaus card jerseyman that I bought like 2 weeks ago. And I could try to build out this collection to like help Tadic. By the time I finish it, he'll probably retire. And Mike said, have you not seen who Eagles are playing in the Jan special? That's why I bought Brion, to be honest. And the I have cards like this Tadic that I play Tadic as much as I can, like in lineups I can, and it has nothing to do with this absurd price that I paid. It has everything to do with it. But I have like won enough with it. Like that's a long list of rewards. It's probably not remotely close to, yeah. Ugh. Whatever. But so we have cards like this that are kind of like one-off cards in our gallery. They're essentially naked. And I realize that he's not one-off because I just bought that Berghaus card, Berg, whatever. But like, I don't have a lot of IX cards, as you can see. Two of them rewards. I don't know. I forgot I even had this other Berghaus limited. I don't even know why I keep it. But anyway, so we end up kind of accumulating these one-off cards that were also like, there are examples of ways that we don't accumulate more cards because like if I wanted to get the most out of that Tadic card, I should have a ton of IX cards from that season. Now, obviously, it's really tough now to get the appropriate bonuses on them because I'm not going to be first owner. God knows if the jersey mints are even available or the one-ofs. Let's look. Now that I say that. Let's see. And for those of you who are star members and you want to do this, I just go to offers, select one club, Ajax, and then in this price filter, we have a jersey mint section. You can just apply that. Let me get some rares. Let's see. Will Laird spend any money today? Let's see. It's a honeycomb. I always really like the honeycomb cards too. Okay. So there are no Ajax jersey mints from that. Well, from that season, excuse me. And are there any I assume that there are plenty of collectors for that. I mean, it's a good collection. There's some decent cards in there. And obviously, if you're like trying to boost a Tadic from that year, which a lot of people had. And yeah, so there are no even one-ofs available. So I would basically have to get like the entire collection. And I'm still not even sure I could get to 3% or 4%, excuse me. And so we're still kind of, so we have the cards that we love, the cards that boost them, and then we have cards that we love that we don't boost, and then there's just everything else. And the everything else is where you decide what kind of player you are on Sorare. Are you the type who will hold on to anything because I might need it one day? One day they are going to run a special that pays out $100,000 in cash to anyone who has a card from Groningen from the 2020 season, and I'm going to win that. Or you just get rid of it. And it might be worth whatever the minimum price is on the site. I don't even know what it is. Or maybe nobody takes it. Or at least nobody buys it. And you can figure out what you want to do with it. But the push to collecting has made all of us, I mean, not even the push to collecting, the push to get bigger bonuses on our cards has led us to have so many cards, and which is obviously what Sorare want. Like they want us to have as many cards as possible because it means they're selling as many as possible. But there's a way for us to have a lot of cards and just be smarter about it. And the smarter about it is acquiring the cards that help the ones that help the cards that you care about. It's not about just acquiring every card that you want that's like the best score in the game, because it's just not reasonable for most of us. But like, and I'm not saying what I'm doing is right, but the last few cards that I've acquired, like this Adrian Martinez card, he didn't even play this week. I bought this card on Friday to play in a lineup, and then after the deadline, he was ruled out, and then that lineup got relegated. But like, I have some Tigres cards for this season, and this is a one-of. Here's a jersey mint. Here's another jersey mint. I have a Sparta collection. This is a one-of. And like, all of these cards are either important for collections or they're important cards for my lineups. Like I bought this Stoikers. I think he's going to be good. I don't know if I'm going to build a Genk collection, but we'll see. I don't think I'm buying a Celtic one. This Teji Savigny, like I could, but like I would love to like trade this Balogun card or this Matsuda, whatever Craig Halkett is, and I would get rid of these cards in exchange for ones that just help me somewhere else. Give me another Sparta card or something like that. And I'll admit that I got a little like buy happy with these neon cards for the chance of winning like a secondary one. But like this, I really should build like a Toulouse, or excuse me, a Strasbourg collection. Since I have this Andre Santos. I got to do this on Sorare though, because we only show the old ones, or we show the floor for everything. My cards. Let's see. Like realistically, I should be getting more cards from this collection to help this Andre Santos card, because I think this Santos card, which you can see I bought on the secondary market 10 days ago, is just not that powerful on its own. Yeah, Bakwa too. Nanasi's a ball. Yeah, both of those those are literally the first two that I was going to buy, and I feel like Nanasi doesn't score as well as his price. Share of set pieces, but like, I actually owned. Tyler said Due or Bakwa. I actually owned Due for a while. I say a while. It was like 3 days. I basically flipped it before the French special. So I sold that card for $33, and what did I get this card for? Got it from Sutonio for $8. A Kevin Vogt rare, whatever Abdurrahmane Barry and James Wilson is. Tyler said they just can't keep clean sheets. That's why I didn't buy Petrovic. Now the issue with Andre Santos, obviously he's on loan from Chelsea, and if he goes back there to just rot, who knows? But yeah, you're right. I should buy. Bakwa has been on my list for a while. I think he got expensive is the problem. How was Due been? Oh, that's actually not bad. Bakwa. How much is Bakwa these days? Yeah, his price. So like I was going to get him I had like offers rejected at 100. Even at 100. Man. Oh yeah, it was around here. Here's a steal, 88. 127 secondary. 153 floor. Do you think it's an instant buy? 172 instant buy. Oof. Lon's defense, Santos, and a striker. I've got Juni Ito, who I love to play. Nanasi breaking into the national team a bit. I don't even know where he's from. Sweden. Toby said Nanasi's a little inflated because it's his first season of cards, which is the same as Santos. Tyler said my Santos is lightning that I got from Sorare, so I'm chilling at 50. That's awesome. Your Strasbourg idea, Robin Risser is now playing goalkeeper in Contender. I don't even know who that is. Robin Risser. Does that mean Red Star? See, I need Risser to not start so that Pepe Benet starts. Did he really have one game and he had 100? Get out. 10 saves, 4 from inside the box, high claim, 4 diving saves, and a keeper. So this guy must play so rare. Did Benet even make the bench? Where's the bench? Here we go. Oh, we did make the bench. Is that the first time he's made the bench all season? Oh, 2 games. Okay. Good to know. The reason why I care about Pepe Benet is because he is a Ren boy. Shout out to Tuggy for getting me this card, by the way. Yeah. So the oh, Harry told us about what's his name? Renner. I already lost it. Risser, excuse me. So does he have? So he must just have like a couple Strasbourg cards. Oh, 53. $72 for a contender goalie. Ugh. Oh, Pug's got one. Oh, he's 19. Oh, damn it. You guys are going to make me buy this card, aren't you? Stupid midweeks. 3 midweeks in a row? 44, 46, 48. Yuck. Agent Cooper said Risser will play as he's big. He's a big France U23 prospect. RIP Benet, I'm afraid. See, Benet has never been a thing, so it's fine that there's no RIP for someone that never. Can you die if you've never been alive? I don't know. Man, I'm going to have to go buy a bunch of Strasbourg cards now. U23 midweek is fun. League 2 is a nice league for keepers as well. Not Pepe Benet. But yeah, so we have all of these types of cards, and I'm trying to like do my best to not buy either not buy cards that are not part of existing collections or not buy cards that I shouldn't make a collection for. And like Jakob Briam is one that I just don't know if buying like 9 Go Ahead Eagles cards is worth boosting him, which is setting me up to lose something important, either a D1 spot or a podium or something, because my percentage wasn't high enough on Briam. But that's what I'm trying to do. And I noticed the other day that I've been fairly successful in my strategy of doing this, because whenever like a bot gets a card that I'd like, I find myself with not that many cards to like junk cards to offer them. Part of the reason for that is because Sorare keep rewarding me with goalkeepers of like over tiered goalkeepers. So I'll win a guy like this Bobby Allain. I won as a tier 2. I'm fairly certain. I'm only looking this up because I'm like still bitter about this. Here he is. Oh, tier 3. I apologize. He was a tier 3 and he was worth like a tenth of what the 10 cards above and below him were. It probably wasn't that dramatic, but it was like game week 23 contender D2. Game week 23. I'm sorry I'm making you do this, but I just need to contender classic division 2. Yeah, so here's a lane with an average of 387, and you notice like all of the cards above are in the teens and 20s and even the teens below him. Like the next card that had an average as low as his is like even these tier 4s are higher. That's so annoying. And the reason this happened is because he made one start and for Grenoble and he scored a 90. So his price must have gone up maybe before or after. I don't even know. It was like in this range. Oh, it was this one, excuse me. So like this pushed him into tier 3. And then of course he didn't start again and crashed. And he's like worthless for cat modes. 2 games, he scores 80 and 90 and 80. And he doesn't even start. But then it's like, hey, do I really want to sell a goalie? Never know when you need an in-season contender goalie. Tyler said a bot has the Kimmich Sunrise version in rare. I want to trade mine, but it has 4% less. Tempting just because of the limited edition. Tyler, I was so close to buying that card the other day. I don't even need, of course I need a Kimmich, but like Kimmich is not in my plans at all. But I saw that card and I was like, that is those Sunrise editions are some of my favorite. And obviously Kimmich is awesome. But yeah. Jazz said, I got Dennis Simon from a U23 reward. I know he's going to be the German #1 goalkeeper, but when? Yeah. So like I end up with these like younger goalies, and not that Bobby Elaine is young, but like Jakob Stolarczyk from 23-year-old backup at Leicester who's hurt. That might have been a tier 2. Where did I put that? Never mind. I'm just getting angry about it. But I end up with cards like that, and it's like, do I really want to give that card away? But like every other card that I have is basically like either for a collection that I don't want to get rid of, or a goalie that has since been benched or never started. Shout out Pelly Boving. And it just feels like I have a lot of cards, but like for the most part, most of my cards make sense to me. Like I have these because of this, or I have them because of this. And I'm starting to become at ease with having a lot of cards, because I'm like, I'm not necessarily like, I don't look at it as, my God, I have so many cards, because I feel like thinking of it that way is like, I have too many cards. And instead I'm like, well, this is what I paid to boost these cards that are important to me. And which is why collections are kind of important for me, because I usually play, like I said, I almost always try to play a goalie with a defender. And if that's the case, then that's 2 cards from a collection. And therefore every card I buy in that collection is helping at some point get those cards that are important to me more of a bonus. And so buying these like individual cards, like I bought a Patrick Fluke, if that's even Fluke, whatever it is, who is just like for Mechelen, and like he's okay, but like that's a card I probably should get rid of, because I don't want to buy a Mechelen collection, because as much, shout out to Bob Scoofs, but like I don't need that. And so it's like those types of cards I feel like I should start getting rid of. SR Monkey said, I just sold half of one collection for 90p. They did win me a tournament though, and now someone else can have fun with them. Like you sold, why would you only sell half a collection? I just looked up. So I guess it's this San Jose limited collection. Like I'm not saying like there's no reason to have sold them, but like if you still have cards from that collection, why take the time to lessen that collection? I assume it was this one, right? 2023. I already forget. I guess I should just look. Yeah, 2023. Like, why make your 2023 collection worse? I sold others earlier, kept the keeper. Right, but like now your keeper is not as strong. Who's the keeper? Daniel? $210 points for 5 cards. That's crazy. I just doubt I ever use them. That's fair. That's totally fair. And frankly, you have 10,000 cards. So like the odds that you'll need like a San Jose Earthquake, 1,100, an Earthquake. Tyler said, I moved up to #1 Leverkusen limited 2025 collector. Too bad they can't keep a clean sheet and don't have a healthy striker right now. I mean, you don't have to play them all together. Believe in the Bruce, Thomas said. You can only go up from last season. I mean, I guess. I think it was Nep who made the comment that like it would be cool if you could sell an entire collection and have the new, like the buyer keep all the bonuses. Like I think that I was gonna say like it would be cool if you could just like keep all of keep the collection bonus percentage if you bought the whole collection. But like the immediate thought I have is just Sorare just don't have an incentive to do that for us. There's no, what do they get out of us selling an entire collection in one go? Other than just like it makes us happy. And it's like, I'm not buying, I'm not directly buying more cards because I can sell a collection all in one go. I don't think. Maybe they should try and see if I buy. But like that's kind of the crux of it, is that we're just playing a game that it's such a benefit to have so many cards, but it's a benefit to have the right cards. And I think a lot of people who like hoard cards are like, see, it's great to have a lot of cards. And it's like, well, it's great if you have the right ones, and the right ones are usually the collection cards. And I feel bad that I'm speaking kind of for Sean, PSU fans too, Gator Guy and Nep, but I just didn't need to have them all like talking at each other. But like Nep has said before, like he thinks that Sean's like leaving points on the table by not focusing on collections. And I think Sean is just like, well, I have the best cards, so it doesn't matter as much. And like it is what it is. And I mean, taking the time to go through Sean's gallery to then like trade out the cards he doesn't use for collections, I think would be crazy, which is probably why he doesn't do it. But if you're going to have a lot of cards, and the game is kind of built for us to have them, it's really important for those cards to all make sense for your strategy. And that's not like just the cards that you're playing, but the guys who make up the difference of, if you don't have, like if a recently acquired card doesn't have great XP, then you can help that by buying a collection and working on the collection and maxing that out as much as you can. And there's nothing wrong with that, because there's nothing wrong with having a lot of cards. Like I think Gator Guy's on the perspective that like it's actually detrimental to have too many cards, because then you start considering players that you wouldn't necessarily, and they actually are worse, but you don't think they are, like stuff like that. You're just like, oh, I have this card, so he must be good, when like that's not really the case. And so if you're somebody who has a lot of cards, I think it behooves most of us to take the time to see if we can turn basically our extra cards and turn them into cards that help us. And even if it's a card that you won, or a card you bought a while ago and you don't use it anymore, and so even losing the first owner bonus on a card like that and trading it for another non-first owner card at least helps you in the development of that collection. 10 points right away, 20 after 90 days is way more valuable than just not having it at all. And if you're going to have a card that you don't use, at least have it be part of a collection that's helping cards that you do use. Christian Trabitz, hello, thanks for coming. At the start of last season, was buying full collections. Stuttgart, a lot of 1 of 100s, had the 5% right away. Then was playing the best season ever and was winning Kimmich, Chevalier, etc. That's awesome. I think there's a big, I mean, it's the easiest way to get ahead early. Like at the beginning of the season, we all know that like the card prices are the most expensive then. But if you can get that collection bonus right away, like I got not to like talk about how great Midgeland are, because they're not, but like I got my current season collection to 5% as quickly as I could. Still missing a few cards. And they're off for a while, so I don't even want to buy them. But it's a humongous separator for in season. Like if you're somebody who is going to buy cards early, I think it's really important to consider the possibility of buying the other cards of the collection early as well. Mike said it helped that Stuttgart had a great season. If they had a shit one, it's a different story. Sure. I mean, that's the case with every card and collection we buy, though. But I think like the debate of like, should you own as many cards as possible? I think has to include the conversation of like, if you're somebody who's going to hoard cards, it's so much more important to have them help you. Like, I think it's more important for all of your non always used cards to be helpful to your always used cards, which are collection pieces, as opposed to the I might need this card one day. Because it's possible that the I might need this card one day is a card from your collection. Or I think the upside of collection cards is so much higher than the I might need this card one day card. Collection pieces, this example, this goalie from that's at Red Star now, and that's Red Star FC, and they in Paris? I don't think they're in. Where do they play? Red Star. Are they even? Yeah, it is FC. I don't even want to begin to pronounce what this is, but this is where they are. They're not in Paris, unless this is Paris, which I don't think it is. St. Denis. Oh, is it Paris? I don't know. Whatever. Thomas said they are in Paris. I've been by their stadium, I think. Oh, let's go. So you have, what was I talking about? So you have this goalie now, and like, if I had bought that card early to build out my Strasbourg collection because Andre Santos is there, then all of a sudden I have a goalie. Like clearly the value of that card had to have like gone up significantly. This is going to be like painful when we all see how. I mean, this card was $22 2 weeks ago. Was there any possibility he was starter at the beginning of the season? Did he start at the beginning of the season? I don't think so. No. So I don't know why his price was so high at the beginning of the season. Just early season YOLO. But like, you'll almost never convince me, that a collection piece like this, a 20-year-old goalie, as part of a collection, has less upside than this card might help me later rando card in your gallery. By the way, if this card was like $40, I would have bought it. Well, the recent sales are 40. Should we just buy this card? Well, I'm not going to buy it at 70. And they play Grenoble in their next game against Bobby Elaine, who will be on the bench. But yeah, just take a minute to figure out. It's going to take a lot more than a minute. Sorry. Take some time, look through your gallery, and say, what cards are important to me? Like, this is basically 3 steps. One is that. What are the important cards in my gallery? And step 2 from that is, have I built a collection around those cards? Those important cards. And if you don't want to look at it as building a collection, then you just have to look at it as paying to get a more powerful card. Would I rather a 7% card or a 12% card? So that when my player, who's very important to me, scores 100, I get more points than everybody who's not willing to get more collection. And then step 2 is look at all the cards you don't use and say, can I turn these into cards that help me? And not necessarily turning them into a Hikimi, like we talked about earlier on. But just can I acquire enough cards where they help another card that I have? And then you just get working, finding who you can trade with. Maybe I'll just be a little more public about it. Here are cards that I have that I don't use. Here are the collections that I want to help. Happy to trade. Thank you, everybody, for coming. If you could please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Shout out to Quinny. I'll be back tomorrow with Harry Trades. That'll be Tuesday, December 10th. 2 days before his 12 days of Christmas streaming schedule, which I'm not sure he's even talked about openly yet. So hopefully I'm not bursting any bubbles here. Although anybody who is in Harry's member section knows that it's happening. So check that out too. So yeah, I'll be back with him on Tuesday, and we'll see what happens the rest of the week. So thanks everyone for coming. Good luck with your collections. Good luck with your card analysis. And don't forget to get your steps in.